While Cristiano Ronaldo turns heads alongside the Saudi Crown Prince, Erling Haaland quietly shakes the world by rejecting comparisons to Messi and Ronaldo, and the impact is bigger than anyone expected. This clash between legacy, power, and the future of football is rewriting the sport right now. But here's the twist nobody saw coming, and it could flip the GOAT debate on its head. Stay with me, you're not ready for what comes next. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up, because football has just jumped from the pitch straight into the political spotlight. Tonight, the world watches as Cristiano Ronaldo, the global icon, the record breaker, the man who's rewritten football history, steps into none other than the White House. Yes, you heard it right, CR7 attending a high-profile dinner alongside the Saudi Crown Prince. This isn't just football news, this is football making headlines in the corridors of power. And let's be honest, Ronaldo walking into a presidential dinner, that's not an entrance, that's an era-defining moment. Suit sharp, smile calm, confidence off the charts. If there were goals awarded for style, he just scored a hat-trick before dessert. But wait, across Europe, another storm is brewing. Erling, the Terminator, Haaland, Manchester City's unstoppable goal machine, has spoken, and oh yes, the football world is buzzing. Haaland has played down all the comparisons to Messi and Ronaldo, saying he's focused on building his own legacy. And suddenly, he can feel it, the torch of football greatness hovering in the air. 2 generations, 2 giants. 1 conversation, GOAT status. Haaland knows the mountain, he's climbing the same mountain. Messi conquered with magic and Ronaldo dominated with power and obsession. And yet, with that calm Nordic smile, he says, I'm just getting started. Oh boy, if this is just the beginning, defenders worldwide might need to start praying early. Meanwhile, Ronaldo's journey is the definition of legendary. From Madeira's narrow streets to the White House's grand halls, talk about a storyline Hollywood couldn't script better. The struggles, the pressure, the criticism, the comebacks, and still, the world stops when Ronaldo walks into a room. And Haaland? He's the symbol of football's future, a reminder that the game keeps evolving, keeps surprising, keeps producing monsters of pure talent. So tonight, football fans are eating well. CR7 shining on the global stage. Haaland shaping his destiny. Messi and Ronaldo still casting the longest shadows in sports history. This is not just news, this is drama, ambition, legacy and football, magic colliding at full speed. Stay tuned, because in the world of football, every headline feels like a last-minute winner. Cristiano Ronaldo's appearance at the White House marks one of the most unexpected and symbolically powerful crossovers between global sports and international diplomacy, blending the worlds of political influence and football superstardom in a way few moments ever have. When a footballer reaches a level where their presence is not just welcomed but times anticipated, times in the halls of the most influential government on the planet, it speaks volumes about not only the athlete's career but the cultural gravity they carry. Ronaldo arriving alongside the Saudi Crown Prince turns what could have been a routine political dinner into a worldwide media spectacle, with cameras flashing and headlines exploding across continents. This moment isn't simply about one man attending a high-profile event, it's the culmination of 2 decades of global relevance, relentless achievement, and undeniable charisma that have positioned Ronaldo as more than an athlete. He has become a global ambassador of modern sporting identity. The significance stretches far beyond the glitz of the event. Ronaldo's presence symbolises the interconnectedness between sports, power and global strategy in today's world. Football is not just a game, it's a multi-billion-dollar ecosystem that influences nations, cultures, economies and public sentiment. When a figure like Ronaldo walks into the White House, it represents the acknowledgement of that influence at the highest levels. His journey from humble beginnings on the island of Madeira to becoming a guest at one of the world's most powerful institutions serves as a reminder of the extraordinary reach of sport and how it can elevate individuals to positions where their visibility impacts international conversations. It also reflects the expanding footprint of Saudi Arabia's growing influence in the global sports landscape, especially through its investments in football. Ronaldo's transfer to Al Nassr opened a new chapter for both his career in Saudi football, turning him into a symbolic bridge between European heritage and Middle Eastern ambition. This appearance also demonstrates the shift in how soft power is exercised. Nations increasingly use sports icons to amplify their image, and Ronaldo stands as one of the most effective vehicles for such visibility. His fan base, spanning hundreds of millions across social media, gives him a communication reach larger than many countries' entire media ecosystems. His presence alone is enough to shift narratives, raise questions, spark discussions, and shape perceptions. It shows how modern leadership recognises the importance of cultural figures who carry global influence beyond traditional political structures. By appearing at this dinner, Ronaldo inadvertently becomes part of a story involving international relations, cultural diplomacy, and global branding. For fans, the moment is surreal. Seeing Ronaldo step into a setting normally reserved for heads of state, ambassadors, and political strategists reinforces just how far football stars have come in the hierarchy of global recognition. It places him in a rare category of athletes whose influence stretches into realms where sports news merges with world news, where entertainment meets statecraft, and where personal legacy becomes intertwined with broader geopolitical narratives. The growing connection between Saudi Arabia and Portugal, highlighted through high-profile interactions such as the Saudi Crown Prince and Cristiano Ronaldo appearing together at a White House dinner, signals a powerful shift in the landscape of modern sports diplomacy. What was once a relationship defined primarily by footballing talent and cultural admiration is now evolving into a symbol of strategic cooperation, global visibility, and the blending of national interest with sporting influence. Saudi Arabia's rise as a major player in global sports has been rapid and deliberate, with its ambitious investments across football, Formula One, boxing, and esports designed to elevate its international profile. Portugal, through one of its greatest global exports, Cristiano Ronaldo finds itself woven into that narrative in a way that enhances the visibility of both nations. Ronaldo's immense popularity and global reach have made him a key figure in Saudi Arabia's expansive sports strategy, and his presence alongside the Crown Prince underscores just how intertwined this partnership has become. The connection is not only symbolic, it represents a larger economic and cultural exchange that has been developing since Ronaldo's arrival in the Saudi Pro League. His move to Al Nassr was more than a transfer, it was a statement of intent. It opened doors for more international players, attracted global media attention, and ignited a wave of football-related investment across the region. Portugal benefits from having one of its national icons at the centre of a rapidly expanding football market, strengthening the country's soft power and reinforcing the global value of its footballing heritage. Saudi Arabia gains the prestige of associating its sporting projects with a player whose influence is unparalleled, using Ronaldo as a cultural connector who bridges regions and audiences that might otherwise remain distant. On the diplomatic stage, this growing Saudi-Portugal link reflects how nations increasingly rely on sports to advance their global agendas. Soft power is no longer limited to cultural exports or political alliances. It now includes the strategic use of world-class athletes whose presence can elevate a nation's image, attract investment, and generate new forms of engagement. For Saudi Arabia, partnering with figures like Ronaldo and fostering ties with countries that have strong football traditions helps support its broader vision 2030 goals. It demonstrates the country's commitment to diversification, global integration, and modern cultural influence, all while presenting a new face to the international community. For Portugal, whose global identity is significantly shaped by football, this relationship amplifies the reach of its sporting legacy and opens pathways for future collaboration in training, development, tourism, and exchange. The White House appearance showcases how these connections are being noticed worldwide, not just within the sporting community. It highlights how sports diplomacy can shape conversations at the highest levels, serving as a bridge between cultures, economies, and political interests. Ronaldo's towering influence acts as a catalyst for these interactions, making him a central figure in a rapidly evolving geopolitical narrative where football, diplomacy, and national strategy are merging into a single, powerful force. Erling Haaland's decision to downplay comparisons to Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo reflects a grounded mindset that stands in striking contrast to the soaring expectations placed on him by the football world. As one of the most prolific young strikers of his generation, every goal he scores and every record he breaks immediately sparks debates about whether he is the rightful heir to the throne long occupied by Messi and Ronaldo. Yet, instead of fueling that narrative, Haaland has consistently responded with humility, emphasising personal growth rather than rivalry. His calm dismissal of the comparison shows a maturity beyond his years, signalling that he understands the weight of the legacy he is being measured against while refusing to let it distort his own journey. In a sport where ego often overshadows realism, Haaland's approach offers a refreshing reminder that greatness is built step by step, not defined by headlines or fan expectations. The Messi-Ronaldo era represents 2 decades of dominance, defined by Ballon d'Ors, Champions League reigns, impossible statistics, and global superstardom. For any player to be placed in that conversation so early in their career is a monumental compliment but also a heavy burden. Haaland's insistence on staying focused on his development suggests he recognises that such comparisons can become distractions rather than motivation. By tempering the hype, he preserves the space he needs to grow as a unique footballer with his own style, strengths and ambitions. He is not trying to replicate the artistry of Messi or the relentless athletic perfection of Ronaldo. Instead, he is carving his identity through raw power, clinical finishing, intelligent movement and a relentless hunger for goals. His philosophy appears rooted in self-awareness, knowing that while the world may be searching for the next Messi or Ronaldo, he is only interested in becoming the first Haaland. This humility also speaks to the psychological landscape of modern football, where young talents are often overwhelmed by the pressure of replacing legends. Haaland seems immune to this trap. His response reflects an understanding that great careers are measured by consistency, longevity, and adaptability. He acknowledges that Messi and Ronaldo have earned their legendary status through decades of sustained excellence, something that cannot be matched overnight. This perspective allows him to stay grounded while maintaining the confidence that fuels his performances. It shows a subtle respect for the icons who came before him, while signalling that he knows his time will come through hard work, patience, and resilience. His attitude also strengthens the narrative of a new generation stepping into the spotlight with a different mentality. Instead of chasing comparisons, Haaland is building his legacy through actions rather than declarations. His goals for Manchester City, his impact on big matches, his record-breaking pace, and his consistency in high-pressure moments are shaping a career that is developing naturally and authentically. By refusing to let himself be pulled into debates about who is better or who will surpass whom, Haaland keeps the focus on the present, on improvement, performance, and contribution to his team. His grounded nature provides a stable foundation for long-term greatness, allowing fans and analysts to appreciate his journey without forcing him into a mould created for legends who followed a different path. The debate over football's generational legacy is intensified as the sport transitions from the iconic Messi-Ronaldo era into a new age defined by rising stars, evolving tactics and shifting expectations. For nearly 2 decades, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo dominated every conversation about greatness, shaping the modern identity of football through extraordinary consistency, superhuman statistics, and unforgettable moments that became cultural landmarks. Their influence was so overwhelming that comparing any new talent to them became standard practice, creating both a benchmark and a burden for the next generation. Now, as both legends move into the later stages of their careers, a vacuum has emerged, and with it, a growing fascination with who will define the future. That anticipation has ignited a global discussion about legacy, continuity, and the standards by which the next cycle of superstars will be judged. This debate is fueled by the emergence of players like Erling Haaland, Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Junior, and others who each bring something distinct to the evolving landscape. The football world is watching closely, eager to see who can sustain brilliance long enough to shape an entire era. Yet this transition is not just about individual talent, it reflects broader changes in how football is played, commercialised and consumed. Messi and Ronaldo thrived in a highly narrative-driven era where individual achievements were magnified through rivalries, social media and the demands of modern fandom. Today's rising stars inherit a world where the expectations are higher, the scrutiny is constant, and the comparisons are constant reminders of what came before. This environment adds emotional weight to the legacy debate, as fans cling to the familiarity of the past while embracing the potential of the future. As this generational shift unfolds, the discussion becomes more than a comparison of players, it becomes a reflection of football's identity. Messi and Ronaldo were defined by their differences, one representing art, the other representing power, one a symbol of natural talent, the other of relentless ambition. Their contrast created a duality that shaped the storytelling of modern football. Now, the sport faces a more fragmented environment where multiple stars rise simultaneously, each representing a different dimension of the game. This diversity enriches the sport but also complicates the search for a single successor. Fans debate whether football even needs a new duo at the top, or whether the next era will be defined by broader competition and collective excellence rather than two towering figures commanding the spotlight. The intensifying legacy debate also reveals how deeply connected football is to emotion, nostalgia, and identity. Supporters who grew up watching Messi and Ronaldo find it difficult to accept that a new chapter is unfolding, while younger fans wholeheartedly embrace the idea that a fresh era is beginning. This emotional divide adds layers to the conversation, transforming it into a global dialogue that blends admiration, skepticism, hope, and curiosity. As new talents rise and established legends redefine their roles, the football world stands in a dynamic moment where past greatness elevates the expectations of the present and present potential shapes the vision for the future. Cristiano Ronaldo's enduring star power stands in striking contrast to Erling Haaland's emerging era, creating a compelling dynamic at a moment when football is redefining its hierarchy. Ronaldo remains one of the most recognisable and influential athletes on the planet, a figure whose name carries emotional weight, commercial value, and cultural significance across continents. Even as he moves through the later stages of his career, his presence still triggers global headlines, generates massive audience engagement, and draws attention from institutions far beyond the world of sport. His ability to command the spotlight, whether on the pitch or at events like high-level diplomatic gatherings, speaks to a legacy built on 2 decades of exceptional performance, relentless ambition, and intense public fascination. Ronaldo is not simply a footballer, he is a global phenomenon whose brand power transcends the sport that made him famous. In contrast, Haaland represents the future, a symbol of a new generation built on athleticism, data-driven development, and the evolution of modern football. His rise has been meteoric, fueled by goal-scoring records that shatter expectations and by a physical presence that seems engineered for dominance. Haaland's era is defined not by legacy but by potential, by the promise of what he might become if he sustains the blistering pace he has set. His performances for Manchester City place him among the elite, yet he continues to frame himself as a player focused on growth rather than comparisons, allowing fans and analysts to project their hopes onto him. The contrast between Ronaldo's established greatness and Haaland's rapidly expanding profile creates a narrative tension that defines the current state of football. Ronaldo's continued influence demonstrates how certain figures achieve a level of cultural permanence that outlasts their peak athletic years. His every move, transfers, interviews, appearances is still treated as a major event. This level of attention is the product of longevity, reinvention, and a career filled with dramatic moments that have etched themselves into football history. Ronaldo's ability to remain relevant even as new stars rise highlights the depth of his impact. His legacy does not fade, it evolves, setting benchmarks that shape how emerging talents are judged. At the same time, Haaland's ascent illustrates how quickly football can shift toward the next big personality. The sport is constantly searching for the figure who will define its future, and Haaland fits that mould with his unique blend of youth, strength, precision, and confidence. His era feels inevitable, yet still in formation, a story unfolding in real time. This creates an intriguing dynamic where the sport exists between two timelines, the closing chapters of Ronaldo's extraordinary career and the early chapters of Haaland's potentially historic one. The contrast between these timelines enriches the narrative of modern football, making the sport feel both nostalgic and forward-looking at the same moment. The coexistence of Ronaldo's lasting star power and Haaland's rising influence captures a transitional moment in football, a point where the sport honours its legends while preparing for the next phase of greatness. We'll explain everything in this video, step by step, don't skip it.